Good Monday morning, and welcome back to another episode of Martin's Koi Pond and Aquatics. And this episode is all going to be about the pond. So, as most of my subscribers are pond keepers, I'm sure you'll be happy about that. Now, the first thing you'll probably notice is that the water level is down by over a foot. That's because yesterday, well, Saturday night, overnight, we had a near disaster, and basically the fish were saved by the float switch. What had happened was, on Saturday, I went and bought a load of new stuff because I've got a new filter coming, but more on that in a bit. And I removed some of the media from the top tier of the shower and put in 3 layers of sponge, coarse, medium and fine, and took out the filter floss, because basically I'd had a gut full of cleaning filter floss every day, and I wanted a system where I could leave it for 2 or 3 days before I had to clean it. And I thought the fine sponge would be perfect for that. Well, thoughts can go very wrong, because what happened overnight was the fine sponge, which was on the top, fully clogged up, and water had been leaking out of where the 2-inch spray bar goes in either side of the shower. And that had happened while we were asleep, as these things always do. And my wife got up at 7 yesterday morning with the dog, came outside to find none of the filters running, none of the pumps running, the water level about 6 inches lower than it is now, and came running upstairs to wake me up. I immediately knew what the cause was. This plant here was absolutely drenched, and all this area behind here was really wet, and all the lawn through here was really wet. And I estimate nearly 1,000 gallons I'd lost before the float switch kicked in. But it left plenty of water, over 2 feet of water for the fish. So the fish themselves are fine. But obviously, had I not had that float switch, my retro bottom drain would literally have emptied the pond, and I would have had a lot of money's worth of dead koi. So it's a real important lesson to anyone who has a pump fed system. Make sure you have some sort of cut-off float switch or other type of switching system, sensors. So if a leak does occur, you're going to be protected. And I have Martin from Devon Koi to thank for this, because when I first started putting videos out last year, he quickly pointed out and sent me a link to get one of these float switches, and you know, that has saved my bacon and the fish's bacon on this occasion without any doubt, and probably saved me not just the fish but also the pumps, because if they'd have run dry they probably would have overheated and be no use. So that being said, I've got away with it because of my safety system, and we are slowly refilling. The refill is there from the RO, which is 400 gallons per day, but you have to, as I've said before, you have to have the pump off 1 hour in every 3, so I'm not getting 400 gallons per day, but it is filling it. I mean, it's filled at about 6 inches so far from where it was yesterday morning, and I was faffing about a lot yesterday, which I'll now explain. So just recently I've been suffering with a lot of suspended particles in the water. The water's not been looking good. I had a blanket weed outbreak last Monday, which of course once I treated meant I'd got all blanket weed in the water, and the filters weren't really removing it. And as you know, those that watch my channel regular, I've got that pressure filter in the corner. The screen is down at the minute because of work I was doing yesterday on the pond, and that pressure filter is just a nightmare because it's just a magnet for muck inside on those sponges, and to clean it is a mission. And people have been advising me to get rid of it since I've had it, basically. I mean, it's done a job for a year and a bit, but it's not really suitable for a koi pond. I think if it was a goldfish pond where water clarity is not necessarily such a big issue and bacterial issues aren't such an issue, because goldfish are much more hardy than koi. Brilliant filter for that, not great for koi. So I've been to Coastal Koi and I've bought a new filter that is going to sit in that corner. Only just fits. It's going to be a tight squeeze. So bearing in mind that corner's about 4 foot by 4 foot, and it's going to be a tight squeeze. Could have a good clue there as to what the new filter is going to be. Now, to go with it, I bought the new Eco Aqua. I said that a bit wrong. There's the offending fine sponge. It's out now. 20,000 litre per hour variable pump. So that's going to be to run the new filter and the shower, but they're going to be on separate lines, and I'll show you how in a second. And also I bought a Evolution Aqua Evo 55 watt UV. So I'm now pulling 20,000 litres per hour through the retro bottom drain. The new pump is there. That pipe is the up pipe from it, and it comes into this Y, and the Y is splitting it at the minute to one arm of the Y goes to the shower. So you've got roughly 10,000 litres per hour now going through the shower, and the other Y loops round. It's going to be neatened up and comes into the UV, and after the UV, at the moment it's coming out and going into the pressure filter, but it will be coming out from the UV and going into the new filter, which, as I say, here's another clue, it's going to be sitting here. And the outlet of the pressure filter at the minute is just going straight into the pond. So that's how I'm using that bottom drain now. So I've got an extra 8,000 litres per hour now coming through the bottom drain, whereas in the past I had 12,000 litres per hour. So the Screenmatic now is running off the skimmer line. So you've got 8,000 litres per hour going through the Screenmatic from the skimmer. The Screenmatic is actually slightly faulty. The scraper that removes the nut from the screen has become loose, so I've had to order a new part. It wasn't particularly expensive, so I've ordered that part and hopefully we'll be able to fit it when it gets here. I've made a slight little modification which I'll go around and show you, just to get me by until the new scraper comes. I think I've got the scraper from World of Water, I think they were called, and it's about £9 something with postage. So this is the scraper here. As you can see, it's working, and of course, being a skimmer, you've got lots of food that's come down there. But what I've done is I've broken a couple of wooden post pegs and just wedged them in there, and that's holding the scraper tight against the screen. And that seems to be doing the job. So fish, like I said, all seem fine. The water clarity is coming back quite rapidly. I took the sponge out of there last night and power washed it off. And I did say no more fish, didn't I? But when I went to Coastal Koi and bought the new filter and other bits and bobs, and I'm looking for the new one, he's not very big, they had a load of young Karashigoi, and I've wanted a Karashigoi pretty much since I've had the pond. There he is, just there, little 20 centimetre Karashigoi. So that's 15 fish now. Now there is a chance next spring I might move on 3. In my mind I know which 3 I'd probably move on, but I'm just going to wait and see how things pan out over the winter, how they grow, etc, etc. I mean, my pond is 3 meters by 3 meters 30, so it's quite a decent size, and I see people with smaller surface area ponds having more than 15 fish in, so I'm going to wait and see. I'm not going to say for definite there's 3 going to go, but I have earmarked 3 should I decide I need to thin down a little bit. So that being said, I'm going to end the video, and the next video will be all about the new filter. So look out for that, and I'll see you in the next one.